Hello, welcome to this live podcast recording. So we have the wonderful Maureen Kafkis in the room with us tonight, and she is going to share her inspiring money story, which we've just been chatting about in the background before we hit live. And I think that for anyone who is starting out with manifesting clients, manifesting, selling something in business, Maureen's story is going to be really, really helpful for you because she's going to share a lot about the inward journey tonight. So I think it's going to be a really interesting conversation. But before we go into all the details and all of that, Maureen, can you tell us a little bit for those people who don't know you, who you are, what you do?
Sure. So I'm Maureen Kafkis, and I'm happy to be here. And I am the Brain BS coach. So by Brain BS, I'm talking about subconscious and unconscious programming. So what I do is I help people to understand what that's creating for them, how to master it, and then how to create a nervous system to support success. So because the two go hand in hand, in my opinion. And I also believe in collaboration over competition and doing it with other people and doing it as a community. So I'm all about supporting other people. And now, after all my work, I am open to receiving from other people and receiving abundance and starting to make money.
Lovely, lovely. I love what you're talking about actually with that whole nervous system component, because I think, that's where a lot of our work is very similar, because you can do all the action that you want, and you can do all the rituals that you want in terms of manifestation, but actually if your brain is not on board, it's not quite going to work out as you hope necessarily. So yeah, I think that's really interesting. When it comes to brain BS, then what is the kind of thing that you tend to work with the most?
Oh gosh, well, brain BS is so prevalent. And
Mm,
as you know, it's not just around your work. It's around everything in your life,
yeah.
right? That's how you create your vibration. That's your frequency that you put out into the world. So it's brain BS and nervous system dysregulations take place all day long. It can happen when you
Mm,
look in the mirror and you feel like you look fat and you don't like how you look that day, and you get that like little jolt in your system, you know?
mm, mm,
That's brain BS letting you know it's there and that you have some body image issues that you might want to address. Or
yeah.
it could be with your partner. He gets on your nerves, or she gets on your nerves, or they get on your nerves, and you have this moment where you get really triggered. And then it's just another invitation to go inward. So we get invitations all day long to go inward. But the problem is most people go outward, and they think that things outside of them are the problem. They think that
Mhm,
their weight is the problem when they look in the mirror. They don't
mhm.
understand that it's really the way they're treating themselves and receiving themselves and interpreting themselves that's creating the vibrancy or the vibration, not the actual weight or
Mhm.
what they look like.
Absolutely, absolutely. Interesting. So it sounds like, do you coach in all of these areas, and it's quite a broad practice then in terms of like almost like life coaching, any area where there's brain BS
Well,
showing up?
so it kind of the way it's turning out now, which is completely unexpected. And part of my process of manifesting is I literally take it one action at a time.
Mm,
I only know in the moment what I'm supposed to do. I have an idea of what I want, but I don't know how it's going to unfold. So
mm,
unexpectedly, I find myself in a situation in this present moment where I just created a community for the struggling coach and a course that goes with that. And it's a really heavy on the collaboration in the community. We also have a capital grant fund. Every 10th course that I sell, I put that money into a fund and I award it to a coach in the community, and they do something with it and they come back and tell us what they did to inspire
mhm,
us, or they
mm,
pay it forward to somebody else that does. And then I have a directory on my website that's in the works of where all those coaches in that community will be featured on my website with a
mm,
bio and pics about themselves. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I'm trying to make the process of getting a coach more transparent. And I'm trying to
mm,
get people to be more open and honest about how they're doing it. In the industry, we're taught to kind of manipulate people, to be totally honest,
mhm,
into buying
mhm,
our packages and making money the number one priority. And
mm.
I have found myself in the position of being the one talking about the elephant in the room and creating a community where the coaches kind of do things a little bit differently and we collaborate instead of compete. And then I also have a course coming for the non-coach where I'm going to be educating them on how to find a good quality coach at a budget that they
Mhm.
can afford and stay in their budget and not be manipulated. So the
Interesting.
broad the
Yeah.
broad idea is to make coaching more accessible to more people, and
Mm.
that shouldn't be interpreted as I'm against coaches making money. I
Mhm.
just want to hook up the people who want to charge a lot of money with the people who want to pay a lot of money, and
Yeah.
save those people a lot of pain that don't have the money and
Yeah.
shame that they have when they go on these consults. They meet a coach and they think they're amazing and they want to work with them and they think that's their only solution. I'm like over here, like, no, I know a bunch of people over here that don't charge a lot and I
Yeah.
can hook you up with them. And then it's just making sure the coach gets what they need,
Yeah.
the client gets what they need. I get to help other people as I make money. So is everybody else. So it's like it works for me.
Wonderful. Interesting. I love that concept actually, like all that collaboration, everyone coming together, helping each other. And I think you're right. Like before I came into coaching, I did a lot with natural therapies. And what was really interesting to me when I came into the world of coaching was why don't people put prices on their website? And quite often, if I'm looking at hiring a coach and I'm thinking I need coaching for this or for that, and I'm looking at different people's websites, I'm like, why can't I even get an idea of how much they charge? Like, is it going to be that they give me a quote of like 30K when I'm on the phone? Or are they going to give me a quote of like 1,000? Like, I just have no idea what the price point is, you know? And so I think you're really, showing that there is a solution out there for a need that some people have actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
honesty and transparency.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Right. Right.
trusting people to know what they can afford on their coaching. So even if
Totally.
you see people like writing courses and all the things they do and their sales page, they go through this whole thing before they'll tell you the price at the end, or you have to click on the details to find out how much they charge.
Yeah.
Like mine's in my first line. It's
Yeah.
$100. And mine
Yeah.
is $100 for all that, by the way.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
literally doing it as a gift to the
Yeah.
world and to new coaches to give them a supportive community where they can practice going big and they can practice posting and they can do
Mm.
it all in a safe environment with mentors in there to encourage them and help them with like-minded people like me who
Mhm.
want to help people. And then also those people, everybody in the group's going to receive something too, because everybody has a different skill set and
Yeah.
you do it together. So it's like, I mean, I kind of feel like I came across the greatest idea on the face of the planet. And for the
Yeah.
price of $100, it's
Yeah.
really easy now for me to really believe in it and have that energy behind it and sell it.
Mm.
It's a totally
Mm-mm.
different experience than when I was doing what other people were telling me to do.
Yeah. So this is all coming from within and self-directed. So tell us a little bit then about your manifestation story when it comes to this course and this community.
Okay, so I started out like when I first went into coaching, I started to make money and then I freaked out and I knew my nervous system couldn't support it. So I just went inward, did a deep dive, really got into the gene keys and human design. And that really taught me how to trust myself and to listen to my intuition. So I started doing that. And I just did that one step at a time. So all of a sudden, I was like, okay, I'm going to create a course and it's going to be never did I think it was going to be for the struggling coach, but for the last 2 years I've been supporting the struggling coach in coaching groups and trying to guide them and give them feedback and encourage them and nurture them. And all of a sudden I was like, okay, that's where I'm going to start. So I knew I was going to do two. And so for my vision it was like, okay, I'll do a coach one and a regular person one. And then I'm like, I'm going to do the coach one first. They reach more people, it'll have a bigger impact, and then I'll move over to the other one. So I
Mhm.
did that one. And then I was at pickleball. This is my process of manifesting. It kind of takes place as I go. I'm at
Mhm.
pickleball and somebody tells me about their kid's graduation. And this guy who did the commencement speech, he had almost died 6 months before. He has this whole different way of looking at life. He wanted to give each graduate $500 to either use on himself and come back and tell him how they used it, or pay it forward to somebody else who needs it and come back and share. I got total full on goosebumps. I just did again in
Mhm.
my body when I heard that because I'm like, I'm totally doing that with my business. So that's how
Right.
the Capital Fund came about. Then I keep doing my thing and I keep doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And then each step of the way, things happen. And then I'm like, okay, I have all these people reaching out to me and asking for help that aren't coaches. I'm like, okay, I'm going to create a course for the non coach too. And it's going to be the same thing. They're going to have a community. Both of them will have community. Both of them have support. And I'm going to charge $100. And then each one's going to have the funds in there. And I'm like, okay, that's what I'm doing. So now I'm working on the other course. But then I start thinking about it and I'm like, okay, what else am I going to do? And I'm like, all right, I think the next thing to do is start looking at maybe taking cohorts through my program, maybe doing a little group thing for like 4 people. And now that's what I'm looking at. So it's literally, it's trusting, it's
Mhm.
trust. My whole manifestation, it's all about trust. And in order to stay in that place, I have to do a bunch of different things. I've done raw, which is uh, rekindled ancient wisdom. I do
Mm,
sessions on that. I've done emotion code. I'm in a
lovely.
breathwork program. I meditate. I walk. I am literally like embodying everything
Mhm.
that I'm learning. And
Yeah.
then that's what helps me to know what the next step is. So I think I have a vision that this is what I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm also open to the fact that the universe might have something way better in store for me and an invitation could be coming from anywhere.
I
So I'm
love
just open to all of it.
I love that because I think, with all of the wonders of our brain, and our brains are amazing. We can't possibly know what amazing things that the divine might have in store for us, and we're just waiting for that download. And so when we don't have that kind of that grip hold on it has to be this way, we allow then those ideas to just land with us, and maybe it's something even better than you could have imagined. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then also, I think a big thing is timing.
Mm.
Okay, so like divine timing. It's not going to happen if you're not ready for it to happen.
Yes.
So I just started to sell my course last month. And I thought, and my brain thought, oh, people are going to snatch this up. This is a deal of a lifetime. This is amazing. They're totally going to get it. And they started to, right? Immediately I had someone buy one. Then a couple of days later, I got someone to buy one. And then I started looking at, well, how do you market? Like how, and I'm like, I'm not doing anything like anyone else in any other way. So I
Mm.
don't have to do marketing like that either.
Mm.
So I start looking at my human design a little bit more, my gene keys, and I'm like, okay, the way that I do it is by sharing my story and being completely open and transparent and honest,
Mm.
not
Mm.
hiding. So everybody on social media knows how much money I've made so far. They know
Mhm.
how many programs I've sold because I'm keeping it real. I'm not lying. I'm not making up stuff. So there's no need for compare and despair around me because
Mhm.
and there's also this idea there's so many people putting things on social media and coaches about that aren't true. Like they're
Mhm.
they're really rationalizing why they're posting the things they are, how much money they're making. And
Yeah.
I just had a conversation with someone else like, okay, so they're making a lot of money, but what's the profit? How much are
Yeah.
they
That's always
spending?
been my question as well. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right?
you can have a 100K business and 98K of it is expenses, it's like, how much does it cost you to run that business? Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know, that's what I'm
Right.
saying, and then all these other coaches are listening to this stuff, and they think these people are making all this money, and
Mm.
it's really a big part of it seems to be me speaking out, saying things that other people won't say,
Yeah.
and totally trusting my intuition of when to do it or not. Like, I don't just haphazardly jump on there. I've gone to do it at times, and I'm like, "No, I shouldn't say that one. I'm not going to say that one. I'm going to keep that one to myself."
Mm.
And then when it comes to me in a certain way, and I know, so I don't know if everybody pays attention to those thoughts that come up into their head, but I do
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
I've come to realize, especially when I'm doing things in alignment. I mean, it could be brain BS, right? But if you're in
Yeah.
alignment, it feels totally different.
It feels different. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
feels like a knowing, like, oh, yeah, that's the next thing that I'm supposed
Mhm.
to do. And I literally will find myself getting overwhelmed and thinking about how to manifest the future. But for
Mm.
me, it's like, nope, I just need to come back to the present moment. I need to stay in this space. And then I need to commit to taking the next action that comes up through me,
Yeah,
through my
yeah,
heart and in my head. And that's the only way I can do it, because otherwise I go into kind of overwhelming confusion, and then it'll lower my frequency, and then I'm
yeah.
not going to attract what I want.
That's interesting. As it sounds like your manifesting style is really about receiving. There's a lot of allowing, there's a lot of receiving. You're being open to everything that's coming to you. You're trusting. You're really in touch with your intuition. All the work that you've done has, by the sounds of it, heightened that. All the gene keys, the emotion code, all of that stuff. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
a
I
really
love that you
interesting
said that
process.
about receiving, because
Mm.
that's what I hadn't been doing before, right?
Right.
I've always been a giver. And naturally, like, my intuition told me, like, over the last couple of years, I stepped away from doing anything when I freaked out, and I just did a total deep dive on myself. I'm in a position where I'm able to do that, which I feel is my role in this
Mm,
curriculum that we're all in together. My role is to be able to do this because I don't need money right away. I know,
mm,
I recognize that other people do. They have a different role and they have to figure that out. That's their responsibility. But
mm,
mine was to do it the way that I have. And it gave me the opportunity to really go within and figure out how I wanted to do everything, and how to start making money when it was time to start trying to sell things, and
mm.
time to receive. That, yeah, you took care of other people for 2 years. I support other coaches all the time. I post all their stuff. I go on lives with them if they're in there and I see them. I've done that with you before.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just, it feels good. I just
mm,
like doing it, and
yeah,
that's what inspired me before. But now I'm getting more choosy with who I collaborate with, because
yeah,
I'm actually looking to receive as well as,
yeah.
giving to them. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's wonderful. Um, for someone who may not know what an intuitive hit really feels like, and they don't maybe understand the difference between some of their brain BS and intuition, what would you say to them if they were trying to figure out that piece right now?
Um, I would say that for me, my intuition is just very calm, very wise, doesn't yell, isn't panicking. It's a deep knowing that I'm supposed to do something. That's the only,
Mm,
and I think it's different to a degree. I would imagine it's different for everybody. But
mm,
it's when you get in your mind, you can tell when you're in your mind, you're like rationalizing things. You're looking at what you're going to get out of it. You're looking at what is the outcome going to be. When I get an intuitive hit, I'm like, are you sure? Okay. Because that's not really necessarily how I would envision I'm going to get more clients or I'm going to make more money. But
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
I don't even question it anymore, though, now. Now I'm just
totally.
like, okay, that's the next thing to do, and that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, I that's the only way I can. Brain BS usually kind of makes you feel bad, but here's the thing with brain BS too, it can be very, very sneaky,
Mm,
right? Brain BS can make you think things about yourself, or spiritual bypassing is a really good one. Like when
mm,
you're in a family setting and you've been doing all this work and you're trying to be more evolved and a more you know uh, centered person, and then somebody in your family does something that annoys you and you get triggered, and you think, well, do I say something, or do I just should I just I should be able to handle this. I should be able to take the higher road. I should be able to be around anyone, and not get ruffled and stay in my living consciously mode and be responsive. But that's
mhm.
actually brain BS.
Yes. Yeah,
Right? So it
yeah,
can be sneaky. It can make us think that we're doing something good, but it's brain BS is that that's not the thing to do, because you're not meeting yourself where you are, because
mm,
that's not how you're feeling in that moment. So that's not who you are. And the harder thing is to speak up and make and have clear boundaries and make
yes,
yourself a priority, which is super, super uncomfortable. So you
yes.
see, brain BS can be sneaky and make you think you're doing something good and you're not.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and I think that's some of the work, isn't it? It's like going through all of those beliefs, all of those thoughts, and just really sorting out like what's true, what's not, like what do I want to live into, what do I not want to live into, and yeah, yeah. But over time, I think you get a lot better at spotting them as they come up and seeing, ah, that's really not, serving me going down that path. So, yeah.
Yeah, when you think about it, every single thing you do in life that's new, you should just have a process of deconditioning. Like
Mm,
anything, no matter what it is, a new job, a new boyfriend, learning
mm,
how to make money, becoming an entrepreneur, whatever. It's like the first thing you should do is really just assess everything that you think you're supposed to be doing in this role. And then really, where did it come from? Who told you that? And do you really want to keep it? Because if there's anything that I've learned in the last 2 years, it's that you have to do things your way and you have to be authentic and original.
mm.
Doing it the way other people, even if you make money, doing it the way other people told you to, your internal state isn't going to be the same as mine without making money.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, one thing I was curious about is that for anyone who may, be at the stage where manifestation hasn't quite worked for them before, perhaps they don't really have a strong belief in themselves yet and their capability around this, or possibly even whether or not the law of attraction actually works for them in the context of money and business and things like that. How did you come to this deep knowing and this intuition, and just know that this is the right path for you? What was the evolution of that for you?
Well, okay, so first thing I did was go into human design, and then I
Mm,
learned what my type was and all that, and that made a lot of sense to me, and
okay.
I explored that, and then I decided I read a lot of books. I read really good books, and I'm really good at taking small things and pieces of things and bringing them together and integrating them. And my course that I have is literally my pathway of what I did.
Mm,
So it started out with me looking at who I was being in business, like internally. It had me assess the how I was doing and was that really aligned with me? Because at
mm,
first I was trying to make these really fancy videos and wording my emails like Amy Porterfield, and it was just not working and it felt very uncomfortable.
right.
Yeah, and then a lot of work on your emotions. You have to get comfortable feeling uncomfortable. I
Yes.
mean, that is a must. You have to, and you can't you want to not make it a problem because every time an uncomfortable emotion comes up, it's just your body sending you a message and it's a gift when you figure it out,
Yes.
and it's like thinking that the mind work is separate from the feelings work and the somatic work is it's just not. It's a mind body connection. And then so I go through that. Terrence Will's book, Us, talks about
Mhm.
relationships, who you are, your adaptive child self, that you figured out that person for how to cope in relationships. Like it's sort of like your teenage version of you, but you think it's your adult version. And then you
Right.
have the wise adult self, that's your higher self. But that person needs to spend more time in the forefront. But until you do the work, it's the adaptive child self there. And when
Oh,
you approach things, business, relationships, anything from adaptive child self, you're not going to get the same solutions that you're going to from the wise adult self. And then it's
yeah.
recalibrating your GPS, underlying commitments that Debbie Ford talks about in her book. If you
Yep.
don't have the result that you want, it's because your subconscious and unconscious programming has a different agenda and is
Mhm.
committed to something else. And it's usually related to staying small and staying safe. And then it's just after that, it's about just creating consciously what you want to do and doing things your way at a pace that you can do it, that your nervous system can support. And
Mhm.
I did it. Like I did it. And now I'm speaking out. I can hold my own in any room. And I've made $1,200.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
It's
So, and I
amazing.
love it. I'm
Yeah.
super excited about the money
Yeah.
that I've made.
Yeah.
But I think it's time for people to really realize that no amount of money is going to give you the feeling that I have right now.
Yes.
It's not. And because I've been with coaches that have made millions and millions and they still struggle because they're worried about maintaining that. And it's just like money is never going to be my primary focus in this work. And that's my role. That's what I'm here to do.
Absolutely. I love that, and I can just see someone commenting now. Thank you for sharing this. I think that's a really, really amazing insight right there, and it's a little bit like the weight loss that we were talking about before, and your your thoughts about your body, and you think that the different body size is going to give you a different feeling inside, and it's not. And it's the same with your bank account. The amount of people that I've spoken to when I started doing this work around money mindset and manifestation did not matter about the amount in their bank account. People have money stress no matter what their financial position. And it was so, I'll just share a little story with someone I know. I was going out for a walk with her not long after I'd had my baby, and I was still on maternity leave. And I was kind of in this position of, do I go back to work now? Do I not? And I was having a bit of money drama around it because of the childcare expenses. And I was like, oh, taking that out of my savings, that's a lot of money. Like, oh, anyway, so we were talking about that. And I was literally there going, do I go back to work? I don't know. And she was telling a story of having inherited a very large sum of money, but not having any cash, and being in a place of talking about house renovations going into the millions and not being sure about whether she should commit some of that money. And I was like, wow, isn't it so interesting? We're both sitting here with like money drama right now, but the bank account size did not matter. It really, really did not matter because we both had financial stress in that moment of time. Like, it's all about the inner work, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
I do talk about money here, but really it's like from the place of, when you're able to get into alignment with feeling better about yourself and feeling more prosperous, and you can create that wealth in your life, and the wealth at the level that gets you comfortable, but also having that alignment of, doing the work that you love, and, not overworking and not, undercharging and all of that stuff, then you're able to experience like such a better relationship with money. So yeah. Absolutely. Thank you. So yeah, just seeing another comment here. So true. We need the authentic foundation first. Money will not make us happy by itself. Absolutely. Absolutely.
No.
You see that everywhere, don't you?
Yeah, and you bring up so I created this list of how to create abundance without making money, because that's
Mm.
the vibration you need. So
Oh,
if you have show notes, I can give you the link to it, and
that
that
would
can
be
be
great.
my
Let's do that.
behind
Yes.
it. Yeah. I mean,
Yes.
it's as simple as how long does it take you to make a post?
Yeah.
When you first start out, it could take you the whole day because you're terrified of how people are going to respond to you. And then
Yeah.
it's like all the different ways that you can measure. One of my favorite is, how do I feel? How do I feel
Mm.
inside me on a daily basis? That matters way more to me than any amount of money. Now, it's different when you need to put food on your table. So I recognize
Yeah.
that. But at a
Mm.
certain point, like some of these coaches obsessing about making millions and millions, I'm just like, come on, don't we have bigger fish to fry?
Mm.
Right? I mean,
Mm.
they can do it. That's their choice. But that is like, it's just not, I see it as a thing in the coaching industry, which is why I bring it up.
Mm.
When that
Mm.
becomes a priority, I think it starts to create a lot of problems from the top down. And I don't even like a top down. I don't like a hierarchy when it comes to
Mm.
collaboration. I like
Mm.
it to be a level playing ground where everybody's bringing their skill set together
Yeah.
to work with one another, and the decisions are made as a community, not like just one person deciding
Absolutely.
how things are going to be.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Wonderful. So, if you had any kind of top tips for someone who might be just getting started out and wants to get a lot better at this, and maybe wants to follow your path a bit around, intuition, what would you say to them?
Well, okay, so am I allowed to talk about my program? Because my program
Of
is
course.
exactly
Yeah. I
what
mean,
they
I was
need.
going to wrap up by asking you, like, how can
Okay.
people find out more about your work anyway? Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
so my
yeah.
program is Mastering Brain BS for the Struggling Coach, and
Mm.
it's not just for new coaches, it's for any coach that's not getting the result that they think they should have, that
Mhm.
they're not making the 100K goal that's been
Mm.
planted in a lot of people's heads for like when they first start out. So for anybody who is on the verge of giving up, who is really nervous and afraid of what everyone's thinking. They're comparing and despairing all over the place, and they think everyone else has it figured out, but they don't. I'm your person. And
Mhm.
our community is for you, because that's exactly what it's all about. It's really about mentoring new coaches there's so many suffering because they're trying to do something amazing. They really want to help people, but they want to make a living at the same time. And they're doing it the way other people are telling them to do. So my
Mhm.
whole course is about teaching you how to be authentic and original. It doesn't start out that way. You have to uncover your brain BS, but it's about being authentic and original and trusting yourself to make all the decisions. So you'll be in this group with a wide range of coaches who have the same values as me, and they want to help the new coaches. We're literally mentoring them and going to provide trainings in there and little groups, and it all costs $100. And this is
Amazing.
what I truly believe from the bottom of my heart. Every new coach should go through my course before they hire a coach.
Amazing.
Before you hire a business coach, you need to trust yourself to make the decisions about who you should hire. You don't
Yeah.
just hire anybody who comes in. I did a podcast episode on this, service versus money, on the Brain BS podcast. And I
Mm,
referred to new coaches sort of as new coaches who have been trying for a bit. The new ones are a little different, but the ones that have been trying and it's not working, like
mm.
they're kind of like little wounded birds, and they're like prey for all
Yeah.
these so-called business coaches who aren't even business coaches really coming
Yeah.
in. And then we're dishing out all this money. I dished out $14,000 for business coaches, and I didn't make a penny.
Mm,
You're one of them. So it's about
mm,
wising up about how you're doing things. Slow down. Don't
mm.
think you're going to get the results that people are telling you you're going to get, because you're not. That is not the norm. 40 to 60,000 is the norm for a coach, an established coach in the coaching industry.
Yeah.
So these high numbers and everybody talking about money, just don't buy into it. Don't believe it. And
Mm-mm.
yeah, it's $100 investment. I can save you thousands of dollars, a lot of suffering, and a lot of time. A lot of
Yeah.
time you don't have to take 2 years like I did to figure it out, because it's like 10-minute modules,
Yep.
super simple. And it's like me talking. They're not fancy, they're not perfect. It's me being authentic and original. I literally take you through the whole process of how I'm doing it. And it's so much more fun to do it your way, and then to be in a community where you're like, I had a new coach that came on our call last night. We had our very first call, and she came on it, and she's asking me questions. She's like, "Are you sure I should be here? Because some of these coaches are more advanced." And I said, "Yeah." And she's just like, I said, "Yeah, it's for you. I did this for the new coach because I really want to take care of him." She's like, "Oh my God, as a newbie coach, I feel like I totally hit the lottery." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I have to share that, because that's
Yeah.
what this is. It's a lottery."
Absolutely. Absolutely. It sounds amazing because there are a lot of programs out there, like you say, that, teach about higher money goals, big, big money goals, but actually not everyone has those aspirations. And even if they do, that might feel like to go from 0 to 100, even if you did have that aspiration, you might just want to start with like the 20K, then the 40K, then the 60K, right? And then
Yeah.
if you still want to keep going, for sure, keep going. It's all available, but it's really nice that you're serving that kind of starting point right there, and that there's an option, because there wasn't when I qualified. So
Well, and
yeah.
if you do it your way, you could possibly make a lot of money right away. And there's
Right.
nothing wrong with that, right? But it's
Totally.
got to be that your nervous system can support it. So my
Yes.
community gives you a chance to practice your ideas, to make your posts, to get feedback on everything that you're doing before you actually put it out to the world.
Mm,
Right. So you have like this safe safe space where we're all supporting one another. We're doing trainings in there. We're going to be doing mentoring. I don't even know yet all we're going to be doing, because the
mm,
creative juices are flowing. And I really want to do things differently. And
yeah.
I just want to turn this whole idea, you know, upside down, that you have to do things the way other people are. Even like the DMing, like a lot of my
Mm,
work is through DMs, but it's not me DMing people, it's people DMing me
yeah.
because
Yeah.
of what I'm creating and what I'm doing, on just this idea that anybody has to do things the way you think they should. And that coaches get triggered, or people in general get triggered when people do things differently than them and they put a
Mm,
negative spin on it. Like, it's
right.
all brain BS. And it's just like, I'm going to be doing coaching etiquette 101 for how I think coaches should be behaving and how we do in the community. And, that's when I start ruffling a little, some feathers, but that's like kind of part of my whole plan for being here.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, it sounds amazing. So where should people go to find out more about this program of yours?
So I have a website, www.thebrainbs.com.
Hmm.
There's a For the Coach page on there. You can click on that, and I could give you the link to that for the show notes too, for the actual sales page and for the website. The website, I have a podcast, the Brain BS podcast. I teach about all this stuff in the podcast. So you literally, if you didn't want to spend $100, and some people don't want to, you can learn all this on the podcast too.
Yeah.
Because I talk about everything in the podcast, and it's free. I have a podcast Facebook group now, but I'm streamlining, and I'm getting rid of anything that I don't need, and I'm really simplifying. And I
Mm,
actually left all the groups I was in where money is the number one objective, but I
mm,
stayed in yours because
mm.
you're going inward and you're
Yes.
also doing the work. And I love that because I want to go inward and I want to make money.
Yes, wonderful. Well, it's really great to have you in the community. So yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight. And as you can see, it is nighttime here. My room has gone completely dark. As I mentioned at the start, I think we've had building work going on and I've just been trying to turn my light on. That hasn't been linked up properly yet. So I'm gonna have to sort that out. So
Yeah, it's afternoon here and it's a beautiful day.
beautiful by the look of it. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I'm really looking forward to this coming out on the podcast. And in the meantime, we'll get some links in the comment section on this Facebook Live. So if anyone wants to go and have a look, they can go and check out this amazing course of yours.
Thank you. Thanks
Thank
for having me. It was
you.
really fun.